Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arna al-haqqa haqqan wa razaqna tiba'ah wa arna al-batila batilan wa razaqna shinaba. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As it was advertised by the admins, we shall be covering the topic Judgment Day. I suspect I will be speaking for 2 hours. But you're not obliged to stay for the 2 hours. If you have to go because you have an appointment or you feel sleepy, then you are free to go. But I suspect, based upon my notes that I have in front of me, I suspect I will be speaking for 2 hours, and there will be a lot of hadith which will be quoted in this dars, a lot of hujjah today. I hope the admins are ready for providing the hujjah. So without any further delay, we shall go into our topic, Judgment Day. I need to repeat the slander of Aisha, because when it was done, some people were not in the room. The great story, the slander of Aisha, I need to repeat the topic, because when it was done, some brothers and sisters were not in the room. According to the great scholars of Islam, Ghazali, Qurtubi, and Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Judgment Day has 50 names. Judgment Day has 50 names according to Ghazali and Qurtubi. Time doesn't permit us to go through the 50 names, therefore I've chosen for you approximately 21 names for Judgment Day. From the 50 names, I didn't choose all 50, I only chose for you 21 names. The first name is Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of resurrection. That is the first name. Qurtubi and Ghazali, Judgment Day has 50 names, yes. The first name is Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of resurrection. Allah said, لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة. I swear by the day of resurrection, and I swear by the nafs which is lawama. The lawama, nafs, is the rebuking soul. There are 3 types of nafs: lawama, ammara, and mutma'inna. The rebuking soul, the evil soul, and the tranquil soul. And all of you should try to have nafs mutma'inna, the tranquil soul, so that you don't suffer from mental depression like the kuffar do. The second name is, the evidence for this is Surah 75, 1-2, where Allah refers to it as Yawm al-Qiyamah. Surah 75, 1-2. The other name is Yawm al-Akhir, the last day. I swear by the day of resurrection, I swear by the reproaching soul, the nafs which is lawama. The other name is Yawm al-Akhir, the last day, because after this day there is no other day. Allah spoke about this in Surah 58, verse 22. Allah said, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله. You will never find people who believe in Allah and the last day taking for their friends and allies the enemies of Allah and His Messenger. Surah 58, verse 22. So this is the other name for Judgment Day, Yawm al-Akhir, the last day, because after that day there will be no other day. The third name is the hour. The Arabs, they refer to something as the hour when it is near. The evidence that Allah refers to Judgment Day as the hour is Surah 22, verse 1. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم. O mankind, fear your God and Lord, for verily the earthquake that will happen on the hour is a dreadful thing. So, this is the third name for Judgment Day. The fourth name is Yawm al-Ba'th, the day of awakening. Yawm al-Ba'th, the day of awakening, that is the fourth name for Judgment Day. The fifth name is Yawm al-Khuruj, the day of coming out. The fifth name, Yawm al-Khuruj, the day of coming out, because people will come out of their graves on that day. The sixth name is Al-Qari'ah. The sixth name is Al-Qari'ah. Allah said, Al-Qari'ah, Mal-Qari'ah, Wama adraka Mal-Qari'ah. يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث وتكون الجبال كالعهن المنفوش. The calamity, what is the calamity and what will make you understand what the calamity is? It's a day when man will be like the thickly scattered moth. Surah 101, Al-Qari'ah. Surah 101. Men will be like the carded wool. Sorry, men will be like the moths, the flies that fly around the light bulb, and the mountains will be like wool, carded wool. Manfush. So, this is a name for Judgment Day, Al-Qari'ah. So, the men will be like the moths, the flies that fly around the light bulbs, and the mountain will be like wool. So, Al-Qari'ah means the great calamity. That is the sixth name for Judgment Day. The seventh name, Yawm al-Fasl. Allah said, Inna Yawm al-Fasli kana miqata. Surah 78, verse 17. Inna Yawm al-Fasli kana miqata. Surah 78, verse 17. Now, why did Allah call Judgment Day the day of decision? When you were in the dunya as human beings, you differ amongst yourselves in regards to Aqidah. Some of you believe Allah is on the arsh, some of you say Allah is everywhere. Some of you believe Muhammad was Nur, some of you say Muhammad Fasl. Could you spell it? Do I spell it? Fasl with L at the end. Inna Yawm al-Fasl kana miqata. Fasl, the day of decision. When you were in the dunya, you differ in regards to Aqidah. Some of you believe the Prophet is dead. Some of you said he is alive in the grave, and I can pray to him and ask him for anything I want. You differ in regards to Aqidah. Some of you believe the Prophet went to Al-Isra wal-Miraj in body and soul. Some of you said he went only in the form of a dream. Some of you believe Jesus was a prophet. Some of you said he was the Son of God. Others go further. They said he was God. Jesus was God on earth. You name it, you have different aqidah. I'm not even going to mention the different fiqh. I'm not going to mention the different fiqh. I'm more interested in the aqidah. Because Abu Hanifa said that the aqidah, that is the greatest fiqh. Fiqh al-Akbar. That's why I'm not going to go into the different fiqh. Because the important thing of the deen is the aqidah. You can even learn your fiqh from Asha'ira, a man who says Allah is everywhere. You can learn your fiqh from him. What you can't learn from people is the Aqidah. You have to be careful who you take your Aqidah from. But fiqh, you can even learn fiqh from a person who believes the Prophet went to Isra wal Miraj in the form of a dream. You can learn fiqh from that person, even though his Aqidah is shady. What you can't learn from people is the Aqidah. That's what you have to be very careful about. And Abu Hanifa said that the Aqidah, that is the fiqh al-akbar. The greatest fiqh is the Aqidah. So because you differed amongst yourselves in regards to Aqidah issues, on Judgment Day, Allah will tell you who was right and who was wrong in the dunya. And because of that, Judgment Day is called Yawm al-Fasl, the day of decision. And Allah said, Inna Yawm al-Fasli kana miqata. Surah 78, verse 17. Verily, the day of decision is fixed, is an appointed day. The eighth name, Yawmuddin, Allah said, Maliki Yawmuddin in Surah Fatiha. The day of the deen. Maliki Yawmuddin. Now, why did Allah refer to Judgment Day as Yawmuddin and said Maliki Yawmuddin, master of the day of judgment? Maliki Yawmuddin means He alone knows when is Judgment Day. Only Allah knows when is Judgment Day. That is Maliki Yawmuddin. Maliki Yawmuddin means Allah sends to paradise who He wants, and He sends to the hellfire who He wants, and nobody can veto His decisions. That is the meaning of Maliki Yawmuddin. He sends to paradise who He wants, and He sends to the hellfire who He wants, and nobody can veto His decisions. And Maliki Yawmuddin, only He, Allah, knows when is Judgment Day. The reason why Allah called it Yawmuddin is because on that day everybody will be there. The Muslim, the Christian, the Jew, the Sikh, the Buddhist, the atheist, the agnostic, the Rastafarian. And you will be treated according to the deen you followed. Allah shall treat you according to the deen that you followed when you were in the dunya. So because all the religions will be there, it's called Yawmuddin, Maliki Yawmuddin. Allah will dump the Hindus in the hellfire, and guess what Allah will do? Allah will dump their idols together with them in the hellfire on Judgment Day. The Hindus used to worship a woman called Sita with 6 hands. There is no human being with 6 hands. That shows you how stupid Hindus are. Their God has 6 hands. Sita. The Hindus worship the elephant god, they worship the monkey god. All these idols that they used to worship in the dunya, Allah will dump the idols with them. So the Hindu, his situation is so pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. When he's in the hellfire burning, he will see his God beside him burning. And the pathetic thing about it, he can't say to his God, I used to worship you in the dunya, so take me out of the hellfire. It is kind of hot in here, so take me out. He can't say that to his God. His God is just a piece of stone. That's how Allah will humiliate him. That's called Adhab Muheen, a humiliating punishment. There are 3 types of punishment mentioned in the Quran. Adhab Azim, a great punishment, which comes with fright. Adhab Alim, a painful punishment. First you have Adhab Azim, a great punishment. It comes with fright. Adhab Alim, a painful punishment. And then Adhab Muheen, a humiliating punishment. When you flog a person for zina, sometimes people say zina. The word is not zina. Zina means beauty. The word is zina. When you flog a person for zina in the Islamic State, it's not a painful punishment. I've seen people get flogged in Saudi Arabia for different things. And the police who flogged them did not lift up his armpit for you to see the whiteness of his armpit. They didn't feel no pain. Even a 12-year-old child, a 7-year-old child could withstand the pain. They didn't feel any pain when they were flogged. Because the punishment is not azab alim, a painful punishment. It was a humiliating punishment. Because they got flogged after Salatul Jum'ah in front of 2,000 people, and they read out their charge, what they were flogged for, whether it is alcohol or zina, in front of everybody. So the punishment was not a painful punishment, that is called a humiliating punishment. So Allah Ta'ala has mentioned 3 types of punishment in the Quran. Then the 9th name is As-Sakha. The 9th name is As-Sakha, the day of the first blowing. And when the trumpet is blown into for the first time, it is to cause horror and terror. The purpose is to cause horror and terror. And how many times the angel will blow into the trumpet? Times. The day of the first blowing. 3 times. Now, when the Sakha takes place, the first person to hear this blowing will be a man who was preparing water for his animals. A man who was preparing water for his animals. And when the trumpet is blown into, no Muslim will be on earth because a sweet wind will come from Syria, and anyone who has La ilaha illallah in his heart, when he smells that sweet wind, he will sleep and die a peaceful death. So only the kuffar will be on the face of the earth. A black man from Ethiopia with thin legs will tear down the Kaaba, brick by brick. The people will commit zina in public. Because there is no Muslim in the world to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, to command the good and forbid the evil. They will do such shameful deeds, even the shaitan will be ashamed of them. While the kuffar are in their pitiful, appalling, and pathetic state, then Allah will command the angel Israfil to blow into the trumpet. Only kuffar will hear the blowing into the trumpet. Allah did not make that situation for Muslims. There is a common notion that the angel will blow into the trumpet twice. Ibn Taymiyyah argued the points and he arrived at the conclusion the angel will blow into the trumpet 3 times, not twice. Those who say twice, that's the wrong aqidah. The first time is to cause horror and terror. The second blowing into the trumpet is to cause death. The second blowing into the trumpet is to cause death. And when the trumpet is blown into the second time, everyone will die except Allah. Everyone will die. When the trumpet is blown into, every single person on the face of the earth will die except Allah. Only Allah Ta'ala will remain on the face of the earth. And Allah Ta'ala spoke about it. Kullu man alayha fan. Surah 55. Surah 55, verse 26 to 27. كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. Everyone will die when the angel blows into the trumpet. The only one who will remain alive is Allah Himself. Why? كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Every soul shall taste death. So even Israfil himself will die. So the second blowing into the trumpet, the purpose of the second blowing is to cause death. Now, the third and last blowing into the trumpet is to cause everybody to be resurrected. The third and last blowing. As I told you, the second blowing is to cause everybody to die. Because Allah said, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, Surah 3, 185, every soul will taste death. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, every soul shall taste death. Don't bring me all the ayah, just a piece of the ayah. Every soul shall taste death. So the second blowing is for everybody to die. The third and last blowing is for the resurrection to take place. So the angel will blow into the trumpet 3 times. That is the correct aqidah in regards to the blowing into the trumpet. Any other aqidah in regards to this is the wrong aqidah. The 10th name is At-Tam al-Kubra, the day of the final blowing. The 10th name, At-Tam al-Kubra. Kubra with K, from the word Kabir. The day of the final blowing. Tam al-Kubra, the day of the final blowing. That's the name of At-Tam al-Kubra, the day of the final blowing. Now, the 11th name is Yawmul Hasra. Yawmul Hasra, the day of grief and regret. That is the 11th name for Judgment Day, Yawmul Hasra, the day of grief and regret. So a man will come on Judgment Day, and what will he say? He will cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhid fulanan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I did not choose such and such a person for my friend. Surah 28, Surah 25, which is Surah Furqan, verse 28. Ya waylata laytani lam attakhid fulanan khalila. Then a kafir will cry out, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Woe be unto me, I wish I was dust. Surah 78, verse 40. Don't bring me all the ayah, just a piece of the ayah. Surah 78, verse 40. The kafir will cry out, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Woe be unto me, I wish I was dust. The great scholar of Islam, Imam Qurtubi, he said in his book At-Tadhkirah, one of the most beautiful books written to describe for you what will happen on Judgment Day. He said, Allah will say to the dogs and the pigs, become dust. And all the other animals become dust. Because there is no accountability for animals. When the kafir sees the animals become dust, and then he sees the blazing fire, a fire which is 70 times hotter than the fire you used to cook at home, the kafir will cry out, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Woe be unto me, I wish I was dust. The 12th name is Al-Ghashiyah, the enveloping day. The enveloping day. It is called the enveloping day because on that day, no one can escape. It's impossible for a kafir to escape on that day. So, because of that, it is called Al-Ghashiyah. So, Allah said, Hal ataka hadithul ghashiyah. Then the day of the enveloping comes. Surah 88 is called Surah Ghashiyah. Hal ataka hadithul ghashiyah. Surah 88. Has there come to you the narration of the overwhelming day, the enveloping day, the overwhelming day? A day in which you cannot escape. There is no escape from the wrath of Allah. The 30th name is Yawm al-Khulud. Yawm al-Khulud. The day of eternal dwelling. So you will dwell in paradise forever or dwell in hellfire forever. And the only exception to the rule is the Muslim. No Muslim will be in the hellfire forever. The day of eternal dwelling. So you dwell in paradise forever or you dwell in the hellfire forever, and the only exception is the Muslim. No Muslim will dwell in hellfire forever because the Prophet said, يَخْرُجْ مِنَ النَّارِ مَنْ كَانَ فِي قَلْبِهِ مِثْقَالَ الذَّرَّةِ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. Anyone with an atom's weight of Iman will come out of the hellfire. So on that day, an angel will slaughter a lamb, and the angel will cry out, Ya Ahl al-Jannah khulud wala maut. Ya Ahl al-Nar khulud wala maut. O people of Jannah, dwell in paradise forever. There is no death for you. O people of the hellfire, dwell in the hellfire forever. There is no death for you. Ya Ahl al-Jannah khulud wala maut. Ya Ahl al-Nar khulud wala maut. So this day is called the day of eternal dwelling. You dwell in paradise forever, or you dwell in the hellfire forever. The kafir, his situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. Because Allah Ta'ala told you in Surah Nisa, verse 56, كُلَّمَا نَضْجَتْ جُلُودُهُمْ بَدَّلْنَهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ. Every time their skin melts away with the heat of the fire, we give them new skin to burn again and again and again. What a pitiful, appalling, and pathetic state for the kuffar. They will be in hellfire forever. And Allah made a promise to them in Surah Nisa, verse 56. Every time you, the kuffar, when your skin melts away with the heat of the fire, we give you new skin to burn again and again and again. What a pitiful state. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. What an appalling. The 14th name is Yawm al-Hisab, the day of the reckoning. Yawm al-Hisab. Allah said, Iqra kitabak, wa kafa binafsik al-yawm alayka hasiba. Surah 17, verse 14. The day of the reckoning. Surah 17, verse 14. Iqra kitabak, wa kafa binafsik al-yawma alayka hasiba. It will be said unto him, read your own book. You yourself are sufficient as a reckoner against yourself on this day. Kafa binafsik. Today Allah's reckoning is operating upon you. You yourself, you are a witness. And you are the best of witness. Do you know why you are the best of witness? Allah said, بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. What did Allah say? Surah 75. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. Surah 75 verse 14 to 15. You the human being. Surah 75 verse 14 to 15. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. You are the best person to watch yourself, because you are always with yourself. And even though you bring your flimsy excuses to cover your evil, Allah said you are the best witnesses against yourself. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. So sometimes a person might put a person to watch a person. He's a thief, so watch him. He has a weakness for zina, so watch him. He has a weakness for drugs, so watch him. Don't let him take drugs, watch him. Famous movie stars of Hollywood and Bollywood, they need handlers to keep them away from their own evil. They need handlers to keep them away from their own evil, their evil selves. But Allah said, بَلِ الْإِنسَانِ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا. You are the best person to watch yourself, because you are always with yourself. Handlers can't be with you 24/7. وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرًا. Even though you bring forward your flimsy excuses to cover your own evil. Surah Qiyamah, verse 14 to 15. The Prophet said, مَا مِنْكُم مِّنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا سَيُكَلِّمُهُ اللَّهُ لَيْسَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ تَرْجُمَانٌ. On Judgment Day, all of you will speak to Allah, and there is no interpreter between you and your Lord. There is no tarjuman between you and Allah when you stand in front of Allah at the Hisab. Number 15 name, Al-Waqi'ah. Surah 56 is called Surah Waqi'ah. That is a name for Judgment Day. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ لَيْسَ لِوَقْعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ خَافِضَةٌ رَافِعَةٌ. The great inevitable event, Al-Waqi'ah. The great inevitable event. Surah 56 verse 1 to 3. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةِ لَيْسَ لِوَقْعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ خَافِضَةٌ رَافِعَةٌ. When the great inevitable event comes, for this event, there is no doubt about it. There is no kadhiba, there is no falsehood around this date. It's coming. On that day, some faces will be hanging down in humiliation, other faces will be hanging high with excitement and happiness. The face of the kafir and the face of the believer. The 16th name, Yawm al-Wa'id, the promised day. Yawm al-Wa'id. This day is promised. The 17th name, Yawm al-Jama'. Yawm al-Jama'. And please spell Jama' the way I spell it. There's an ayn at the end. The day of the great gathering. The day of the great gathering. The 18th name, Al-Haqqa, the ultimate reality. Allah said, Al-Haqqa, Mal-Haqqa, wa ma adraka Mal-Haqqa, Kadhabat Thamud, wa Ad, Bil-Qari'ah. Surah 69, 1 to 5. فَأَمَّا ثَمُودُ فَأُهْلِكُوا بِالطَّاغِيَةِ. Surah 69, 1 to 5. Al-Haqqa, the ultimate reality. Judgment Day is a reality, it's not a fantasy. And because of that, Allah said, Al-Haqqa, Mal-Haqqa, Wama Adarraka Mal-Haqqa. It's a day of reality, not a fantasy. The 19th name, Yawm al-Talaq. Yawm al-Talaq, the day of mutual meeting. Yawm al-Talaq, the day of mutual meeting. Therefore, on this day, Adam will meet his progeny. Allah's servants will meet each other. The Prophet said to a man on Judgment Day, a man said to the Prophet, when is Judgment Day? The Prophet said to the man, what did you prepare for Judgment Day? The man said, I don't prepare a lot of good deeds for Judgment Day, but all I know is that I love Allah and His Rasul. I can rest assured that I love Allah and His Rasul. When the man said that, the Prophet said to the man, on Judgment Day you shall be with those who you love. When the Sahabas heard that, they shouted, Allahu Akbar. Because all of them, they love Allah and His Rasul. On that day, the scholars will meet their followers. Okay, shukran for the hadith. On Judgment Day, you shall be with those who you love. Hadith found in Bukhari. On that day, the oppressors will meet those who they used to oppress in the dunya, and they have to give them their salah, their zakat, their sawm, their hajj. You cannot pay off a person. You cannot pay off a person with US dollars on Judgment Day, or a stronger currency than that, the euro, or even a stronger currency than that, the pound sterling. You can pay people off with these currencies. The only currency Allah will accept on Judgment Day is your good deeds. That's the only currency Allah will accept. Your good deeds. And you will guard your good deeds fiercely. To the extent where Allah said, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. You will guard your deeds fiercely. Your mom, your mother, will come to you and say, oh my beloved daughter, give me one of your Ramadan. You fasted 30 Ramadans in your lifetime, or even 50 Ramadans, give me one. And you'll say to your mother, I can't. What if I give you and I need it myself? So Allah said, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. You'll run away from your brother. Your mother, your you'll run away from her on Judgment Day. You'll run away from your wife. That woman who was so good to you, prepare your food, your laundry, used to make love to you every night, look after your needs. You'll run away from her. She bore your kids. Yet you'll run away from her. Subhanallah. Your sahiba. And you'll run away from your kids, because they will come begging you for your good deeds, and you'll guard it fiercely. You said, I can't give it to anybody. What if I give you one of my Ramadan and I need it myself? So Allah said, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day, a man will run away from his akhi, his brother, and his his mother. And he'll run away from his sahiba, his wife, and he'll run away from all of his kids. Surah 80. 34 to 37. Surah 80, verse 34 to 37. The 20th name is the day Yom Tanad. Yom Tanad, the day of calling out. That is the 20th name for Judgment Day. The day of calling out. So everyone will be called by their names on Judgment Day. The Prophet said, give your kids good names because on Judgment Day Allah will call them by their names. And when Abu Hurairah met the Prophet said, what is your name? He said, Abdul Shams. The Prophet said, no, that's not your name. You can't be Abdul Shams, the servant of the sun. You are Abdul Rahman. He changed his name immediately. It is compulsory on you to give your kids good name. In the time of the Prophet, a man called his son the dung beetle, the beetle that rolls the human waste, the feces. And the Prophet told him that name is not allowed in Islam. You are not allowed to call your kids bad names. The best names is Abdullah, Abdul Rahman, Abdul Rahim. The Prophet said these are the favorite names. Allah loves these names. It is reported in a hadith that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, you will be called on the day of resurrection by your names and names of your fathers, so have good names. Reported by Abu Dawud. And when your wife gives birth to a child, you should circumcise the child and give the child a good name. And the first right of the child is that the child should be legitimate. That is the first right of a child. The child should be legitimate. You are not allowed to bring bastard kids into the world because they are stigmatized and they cannot lead the salah in the masjid. They can't stand in front and lead salah in the masjid. The first right of a child, the child should be legitimate. So the Prophet said, give your kids good names because on Judgment Day Allah will call them by their names. Because Judgment Day is Yom Tanad, the day of calling out, in which Allah will call you, each one of you, by your name. The 21st and last name for Judgment Day. My research about Judgment Day uncovered 50 names. I only have mercy on you and pick out 21 names. Because I don't think you will have sabr with the knowledge. Many things I hide from you because you might have sabr with knowledge. My research uncovered 50 names for Judgment Day. I pick out 21. The last name is Yom At-Taghabun. There is a surah in the Quran called Surah Taghabun, Surah 64. That is a name for Judgment Day, Yom Taghabun, the day of loss and gain. The day of loss and gain. So that day is a great loss for the kuffar because their destiny is in hellfire to abide forever, and there is no coming out because there is no shafa'ah for the infidels, and it's a great gain for the believers because your destiny will be in paradise to abide forever and ever. It is called Yom At-Taghabun, the day of loss and gain. That is the 21st name for Judgment Day. Why is it that Judgment Day has so many names, brothers and sisters? The scholars of Islam say when something is important, it has many names. But when something is not important, the names are few. Allah Ta'ala is important, so Allah has 99 names and attributes. And even Allah has more than 99 names and attributes, but Allah revealed 99. Some names Allah did not reveal unto us because our human aql, the intellect, is too weak to understand these names. So Allah kept back some names. The Prophet said, Rahmatan lakum, out of mercy for you. Allah did not reveal these names. So the Prophet said, Sakata an ashya rahmatan lakum. Sometimes Allah keeps quiet about things, not because He forgets, غير nisyan, فلا تسألوا عنها. So don't seek after them, don't ask after them. So whenever a thing is important, it has many, many names. Whenever a thing is unimportant, it has just a few names. This is a reason why Judgment Day has so many different names, because it is the most important day. Judgment Day will be on a Friday. Allah Ta'ala created the heavens and the earth. He completed the creation on a Friday. Judgment Day will be on a Friday. And Friday is the best day of the week. And it is the Eid for the week. Israfil will blow into the trumpet. And the Prophet said, Qarn yunfakh fi, it's a horn. The trumpet is a horn that he will blow into. Ibn Taymiyyah said he will blow into the trumpet 3 times. Allah said in Surah Zumar, Surah 39, verse 68, وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ, when Israfil blows into the trumpet, فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. When the angel Israfil blows into the trumpet on Judgment Day, everything will perish, will die, except those who Allah exempt from death. The big question, the $1,000,000 question, who are those who Allah exempt from death? Because Allah said in Surah Zumar, Surah 39, verse 68, when I command the angel Israfil to blow into the trumpet, everything will die except those who I exempt from death. The question is, who are those who Allah exempt from death? Where is the ayah? Just a minute. Where is the ayah, brothers? Assalamu alaikum. Have you found the ayah? And the trumpet will be blown, and all who are in the heavens and all who are on the earth will swoon away, except him whom Allah's will. So some people will be exempt from death. Then it will be blown a second time, and behold, they will be standing, looking and waiting. Surah Zumar, verse 68. Okay, the question is, who Allah will exempt from death when Israfil blows into the trumpet? Now, the first, we have three fatwas about the ayah, 3 tafsirs. We are going to go along with the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, because in this room we take our creed from Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah. In this room we take our creed from Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah. So we are going to go along with their tafsir. Okay, the first tafsir is that the angels will not die, and this tafsir was rejected by Ibn Taymiyyah. The first tafsir, the angels, they will be exempt from death. The scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah didn't accept this tafsir because there's a hadith that says when Allah speaks, the angel drop down and faint. Could you find a hadith where the Prophet said, when Allah speaks, the angels drop down and faint? Sometimes when they hear the voice of Allah, they drop down and faint. Ibn Taymiyyah said, because of this hadith, if angels can faint, that means they can die. So he doesn't accept that. He doesn't accept that tafsir, that when Israfil blows into the trumpet, everyone will die except the angels. Where is the hadith I asked you for? The second, where the angels faint, is it available? Okay, bring me the hadith, please. You have 5 seconds to find the hadith. When Allah speaks, the angels faint. Even angels are imperfect because they drop down and faint when they hear the Quran being revealed to Muhammad. Is that the takhrij? Okay, shukran. So Ibn Taymiyyah used this hadith to refute the scholars who said it's the angels who will be exempted from death. The second tafsir is that it's the people who are already in their graves because you cannot die twice. What's the second tafsir? Those who are exempted from death are those who are inside their graves because you cannot die twice. Ibn Taymiyyah didn't accept that tafsir. It's the people already in the grave because you cannot die twice. The third tafsir is the tafsir of Ibn Taymiyyah, and this is a correct tafsir. So, who are those who Allah exempted from death? Those, when the angel Israfil blows into the trumpet, those who are exempted from death are the virgins of paradise because there is no death in paradise. That is a correct tafsir. The virgins of paradise because there is no death in paradise. That is a correct tafsir in regards to Surah Zumar, verse 68. Everyone will die except the virgins of paradise because there is no death in paradise. People on Judgment Day will be a new creation. On Judgment Day, people will be a new creation. Therefore, in paradise, there is no death. There is no aging. The Prophet told an old woman, there is no old people in paradise. She went away sad. Then the Rasul called her back and said, now you are old, you will become young, and you'll be forever young. She went away happy. So, there is no aging. You'll be 33 years old. Your wives will be the same age, 33, and you'll be forever 33. The aging process doesn't take place in paradise. There is no bleeding after childbirth. So, even though a woman will give birth in paradise, there is no bleeding after childbirth. There is no pain in the process. There is no spitting, there is no urination, there is no defecation. There is no pain, no sorrow, no jealousy. You will be a new creation. The Holy Prophet said, I will be the most noble son of Adam on the day of judgment, and this is not to boast. So he, the Prophet Muhammad, will be the most noble son of Adam on Judgment Day, and this is not to boast. This is not to boast. Sometimes a person was blown up by a bomb, his body was consumed by a fire, he was eaten in the jungle by a wild animal, but he shall be brought back on the day of judgment. Allah said in Baqarah 148, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يَأْتِ بِكُمُ اللَّهُ جَمِيعًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Baqarah 148. The takhrij is I am the most noble son of Adam. It's Muslim 2278. That's the takhrij, please, for the hadith. I will be the most noble son of Adam on Judgment Day, and this is not to boast. And please Google Muslim 2278 and see what comes up. That is the takhrij for the hadith. Wherever you may be, even though you are eaten up by the animals in the jungle, Allah Ta'ala said, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يَأْتِ بِكُمُ اللَّهُ جَمِيعًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Wherever you may be, Allah will bring you together on the day of resurrection. Truly Allah is able to do all things. Now, some people were eaten by the shark in the middle of the ocean. Some of you were eaten by the lions in the plains of Africa. You name it, you die under gruesome circumstances and your body disappears. Allah Ta'ala shall bring you back together based upon that ayah, Baqarah 148. The Holy Prophet said, a man who was evil told his family to burn his body and scatter the ashes because he doesn't want to meet Allah in his pathetic state of being an evil person. His family did exactly that. Allah brought him back, assembled his body after he was reduced to ashes. Allah said to him, why did you tell your family to do this? He said, because I fear Allah, I fear you and you alone. Allah said, because you fear me and me alone, I now forgive you of your sins and I now give you the paradise. So, this story that was told to us by the Rasul is an evidence that it is easy for Allah Ta'ala to assemble you back together after you were destroyed by fire, or you were consumed by the sharks, or you were consumed by a pride of lions. It's easy for Allah to bring you back together. Where is the hadith about the man who his body was burnt? Please bring me the hadith where the man told his family to burn his body. I think this hadith is in Riyadh al-Salihin. So this man told his family to burn his body and scatter the ashes. He was trying to limit Allah's power. How can you try to limit Allah? One of Allah's 99 names and attributes is Al-Qadir, the one who has power to do all things. Now, even though he wasn't aware that Allah is Al-Qadir, still Allah forgave him of his sin and gave him the paradise. This means that if you do not memorize Allah's 99 names and attributes, Allah won't use it against you on the day of judgment. The scholars use this hadith to say, even though you do not memorize Allah's 99 names and attributes, Allah won't use it against you on the day of judgment. Okay, shukran for the hujjah. To collect what is in it of his ashes, then Allah said to the recreated man, why did you do so? The man replied, for being afraid of you, and you know it very well, so Allah forgave him. Yes, this is the hadith, Bukhari, volume. What volume is it? It can't be volume 187. Maybe you mean page, volume 1 and page 597, because there is no volume 187. And what volume was it in Bukhari? Whenever I quote a hadith, I would like the hadith to come quicker. Volume 18. Okay, shukran. Now, who will be resurrected on Judgment Day? Who will be resurrected? For creation will be resurrected on Judgment Day. The next chapter, who will be resurrected on Judgment Day? For creation, the angels, jinn, man, and animals. The angels, jinn, man, and animals. But only Thaqalain will be accountable. Thaqalain means man and jinn. So only Thaqalain will be accountable. The Arabic word Thaqalain means man and jinn. As for the animals, Allah will say, Kunu turaba, become dust. And when the kafirs see the animals become dust, they wish to be like the animals. They wish to be like the dogs and the pigs. Yet these same kafirs in the dunya, they used to brag and boast and call themselves names. The Earl of Kensington, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Monaco, such crazy names with titles, bragging and boasting about their cars, their women, their bank account, their designer clothing, their big houses, their titles, the Duke of Edinburgh and the Prince of Monaco, and so on and so forth. Yet, on Judgment Day, he will cry out, Ya laytani kuntu turaba, woe be unto me, I wish I become dust. How will man be resurrected? Allah told you how you shall be resurrected. You'll be resurrected barefooted. Please list the adjectives. How will man be resurrected? Allah told you. The Rasul told you. Barefooted. Number 2, naked. Number 3, thirsty. Number 4, uncircumcised. Number 5, unconscious. Number 5, unconscious. Number 6, blind. And number 7, crawling on his face. Now, the number 6 and 7 is for the kuffar alone. Number 6 and 7 is for kuffar alone. So Allah said in Surah 25, verse 34, الَّذِينَ يُحْشَرُونَ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ إِلَى جَهَنَّمْ أُولَٰئِكَ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا وَأَضَلُّ سَبِيلًا. Those who will be gathered to hell, prone on their faces, such will be in all evil state and most astray from the straight path. Somebody approached Ibn Abbas and said, how is it possible for somebody to be crawling on their face? Ibn Abbas didn't get upset with the man. He said, Allah has the power who makes them walk in the dunya on their 2 feet. Allah can make them crawl on their faces in the akhirah. You are not allowed to ask scholars of Islam these questions. How is it possible for people to crawl on their face? By you asking this question, it shows you are limiting Allah. You are not allowed to ask these questions. How can a man crawl on his face? This question proves that you are limiting Allah. But Ibn Abbas didn't get upset with the man because Ibn Abbas was a Sahaba who was mild tempered. Ibn Omar was not mild tempered. Ibn Abbas was mild tempered. So he didn't get upset with the man. He just said calmly to the man, Allah who made them walk on their 2 feet in the dunya, Allah has the power to make them crawl on their faces in the akhirah. Maybe another Sahaba would be upset with the man for asking that question. The kafir will be resurrected blind, like Allah told you in Surah 20, 125 to 126. قال رب لما حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا. He will say, my Lord, why did you raise me up blind? When I was in the dunya, I was able to see. Allah will say, likewise, our revelation, Surah 20, not Surah 21. Surah 20, 125 to 126. Why did you raise me up blind? Allah will say, likewise, when you were in the dunya, our revelation came to you and you turned a blind eye to them. So, because of that, today, on Judgment Day, we treat you in the same manner. We raise you up blind. The way you treat Allah in the dunya, Allah shall treat you the same way on the Day of Judgment. I repeat, the way you treat Allah in the dunya, Allah Ta'ala shall treat you the same way on the Day of Judgment. So if you turn away from Allah's guidance in the dunya, you turn a blind eye to Allah's deen, on Judgment Day, Allah shall raise you up blind. What you sow is what you reap. That is the policy of Allah. Whatever you sow, that you shall reap. The Holy Prophet said, we will be resurrected naked. Aisha said, if we will be resurrected naked, will not the men look at the women? And the women look at the men? The Prophet said, oh Aisha, the situation will be too terrible and dreadful for people to pay attention to the naked bodies of each other. Now, if you are on the beaches of Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, Antigua, then you can look at the naked bodies of women because you are relaxing on a holiday. But if you are on Judgment Day and there is a raging fire, this fire is 70 times hotter than the fire you used to cook at home, and you don't know if you will be thrown into that blazing fire, how can you pay attention to the naked bodies of women? So, because of that, the Prophet said, oh Aisha, the situation will be too terrible and dreadful for people to pay attention to the naked bodies of each other. Did you find the hadith? We will not be ashamed of seeing each other naked. The Prophet replied that they are too afraid of what is coming that they don't even bother to look at each other. Okay, Bukhari. This hadith can be found in Bukhari. Okay, shukran for bringing the hadith. The next chapter, what clothing will we be resurrected in? The same clothing you die in, you will be resurrected in that same clothing. The same clothing you die in, you shall be resurrected in that clothing. What is the hujjah? What is the evidence? The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went on a journey with his companions and they were going to Mecca for Hajj. One of his Sahabas dropped off his horse and broke his neck and died. The Prophet said, don't put perfume on his body, don't cover his head, because this Sahaba of mine shall be resurrected as a pilgrim. The dead will be resurrected in the clothes that they died in. Okay, shukran. Ibn Hibban classified Sahih. So the Prophet told the Sahabas, don't cover his head, don't put perfume on his body, because this Sahaba of mine who fell off his horse and broke his neck and died, he will be resurrected on Judgment Day as a pilgrim. And he said, bury him in the same 2 pieces of cloth that he came to make Hajj in. Therefore, the last clothing you wear before you die, you shall be resurrected in the same clothing. The Prophet said, I will be the first to regain consciousness on the day of judgment, and I will see Musa hanging on to one of the pillars of Allah's throne. I will be the first to regain consciousness, and I will see Prophet Musa hanging on to one of the pillars of Allah's throne. I don't know if he regained consciousness before me, or he was one of those who Allah exempted from being unconscious. The tafsir of this is, all of us will be made unconscious on Judgment Day except Prophet Musa. Prophet Musa will not be made unconscious. So everybody will be unconscious on Judgment Day except Musa alayhi salam. He will not be made unconscious on the Day of Judgment. Because when he begged Allah to let him see Allah, he fell down unconscious. So because already he fell down unconscious, when he begged Allah, can I see Allah? Can I see you, Allah? On Judgment Day, everybody will be resurrected unconscious except Prophet Musa. Narrated, the Prophet said, people will be struck unconscious on the day of resurrection, and I will be the first to regain consciousness, and behold, there I will see Musa holding on one of the pillars of Allah's throne. I will wonder whether he has become conscious before me, or he was being exempted because of the unconsciousness of the Tour de Mount which he received on the earth. The tafsir, the shar for this is that Prophet Musa will be made exempted. The scholars of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they use this hadith to refute the goofy Sufis and the shady Shiites who claim that the Arsh of Allah is an abstract noun. If the throne of Allah was an abstract noun, why would Musa hang on to one of the pillars of Allah's throne? A man was on his camel, and the day of attendance at Arafat, when he fell down and knocked his head, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, bath him in water and sitr and wrap him in 2 garments. Do not add any perfume and do not cover his head, as he will be resurrected on the day of judgment. Responding to the call to pilgrimage related by Bukhari. Yes, this is the hadith used by the scholars to prove that the last clothing you wear before you die, you shall be resurrected in that same clothing. The evidence, Surah 7, 143, that's where Musa fell down unconscious. فلما تجلى ربه للجبل جعله دكا وخر موسى صائقا. What did Allah say? لن تراني. Surah 7, 143. The story was made mention there. Surah 7, 143. This is where Musa fell down unconscious. Because of this incident on Judgment Day, he will be exempted from those who will be resurrected unconscious. The next chapter, who will be the first to be clothed on Judgment Day? For those taking notes, the next chapter, who will be the first to be clothed on Judgment Day, because we shall be resurrected naked. The first to be clothed on Judgment Day will be Prophet Ibrahim. Allah will honor him by making him the first to be clothed, because when the wicked king Nimrod dumped him in the fire, he stripped him naked to disgrace him. And kafirs like to disgrace the believers. So because Nimrod stripped him naked and dumped him in the fire in a naked state to disgrace him, And even the kuffar in Iraq, when they capture Mujahideen, they strip them naked. The Abu Ghraib scandal, and put their naked pictures on the internet. That's what the kuffar like to do to Muslims. They follow Nimrod to the letter. So because he stripped Nimrod naked to disgrace him, Allah will make Nimrod strip Abraham naked to disgrace Abraham. Allah Ta'ala will make Abraham be the first to be clothed on the day of judgment, and this hadith can be found in Bukhari. The next chapter, where will we be gathered on Judgment Day? The next chapter, for those taking notes, where shall we be gathered on Judgment Day? We shall be gathered in Bilad al-Sham, in Jerusalem. Those who say Mount Arafah, that hadith is weak. We go along with the strong hadith, and that is, we shall be gathered in Bilad al-Sham. Or the Messenger of Allah said, they will be gathered here, and he signaled with his hand towards Sham, walking, riding, and passing on their faces, and they will be displayed before Allah, and upon their mouths will be al-fidam, a covering which is the distance is meant to prevent them from speaking. Okay, Bilad al-Sham is the place where we shall be gathered on Judgment Day. Those who say we shall be gathered on Mount Arafah, we refute you by saying your hadith is weak, and we don't take weak hadith into our aqidah. And this hadith found in the Musnad of Ahmad is the strong hadith. Who are those who reject the Judgment Day? The next chapter, who are those who reject Judgment Day? The atheists and the agnostic reject Judgment Day, as well as the philosophers. The atheists, the agnostic, and the philosophers, they reject Judgment Day, claiming there is no such day. The other people, the hypocrites and the deviants, claim the resurrection will take place in soul without the body. The Christians believe in Judgment Day, but the Jews believe in Judgment Day, but their belief is wrong, claiming that we will be in hellfire just for a short while. Allah said, I did not give you that promise. You, the Jews, I didn't give you that promise. The Christians, they believe in Judgment Day, but their concept is wrong because they claim there are no sexual relationships in paradise. The Christians believe in Judgment Day, but their concept is wrong because they claim there are no sexual relationships in paradise. While the Holy Quran has proven otherwise. Because those who die on the battlefield will be given 72 virgins in paradise. The hadith of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has proven otherwise. And Allah Ta'ala said, the virgins of paradise, no human interfere with them. No human interfere with the virgins of paradise. No human and no jinn. فيهن قاصرات الطرف, Surah 55 verse 56. Please bring me the ayah which the scholars use to prove that there are relationships in paradise, physical relationships. Surah 55, verse 56. What did Allah say? فِيهِنْ قَاصِرَاتْ الطَّرَفِ, wherein both will be قَاصِرَاتْ الطَّرَفِ, chaste females, wives. These women of paradise, they don't look at no man except their husbands. Desire none except their husbands, with whom no man or jinn had relationship with. The person who yes, nobody took their hymen. So this is the ayah used by the scholars to say that there are relationships in paradise, to refute those who preach otherwise. Surah 55, verse 56. The next chapter, evidences to prove that Judgment Day is a dreadful day. The next chapter, evidences to prove that Judgment Day is a dreadful day. The first evidence is Surah 22, 1 to 2. Allah Ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhan nas ittaqu rabbakum inna zalzalat as-sa'a shay'un azim. Yawma tarawnaha tadhhal kullu murdi'atin amma arda'at wa tada kullu dhat hamlaha wa tara an-nas sukara wa ma hum bisukara walakin adhab Allah shadid. O mankind, fear your Lord and be dutiful to him. Verily, the earthquake of the hour is a terrible thing. The day you shall see it, every nursing mother will forget her nursling. So, the woman who was given suck will abandon her baby. You will abandon your baby, even though women love their babies naturally. And every pregnant one will drop her load. She will deliver her baby. And you shall see mankind as in a drunken state. Man will walk around as if to say they are drunk. Yet they will not be drunken, but severe will be the torment of Allah on the day of judgment. Can you imagine a pregnant woman when she hears the blowing of the trumpet on judgment day and she sees the zalzala, the earthquake? She will deliver her baby immediately, because of the horror and terror. Surah 22, 1 to 2. Surah Muzammil, Surah 73, verse 17. فَكَيْفَ تَتَّقُونَ, how can you escape that day? In kafartum, if you reject faith. How can you escape that day if you reject faith in it? يَوْمًا يَجْعَلْ الْوِلْدَانِ شِيبًا, on that day, even children will become white in their hair because of the stress. Judgment Day will make kids become white in their hair because of the stress, the sheer horror and terror on Judgment Day. Allah said in Surah Muzammil, will make all the kids become white in their hair. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ, when the trumpet is blown into. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه. Surah 80, Surah 80, 33 to 37. When the trumpet is blown into on Judgment Day, a man will run away from his brother. He shall run away from his mother. He will run away from his father, his abi, his and his ab. Wa sahiba, he will run away from his wife. Wa bani, he'll run away from all of his kids, his children. لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day, everybody will be preoccupied with their own business. All of you will say, Nafsi, Nafsi, myself, myself. All you care about is me, myself, and I. And you'll run away from all the people in the dunya who were the closest to you. Then Allah said, إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. On that day the sun will overturn. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ. And all the stars will drop down out of the sky. So on Judgment Day, the sun will overturn. I'm quoting to you from Surah 81. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ. The sun will overturn and all the stars will drop down out of the sky. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ. These huge, gigantic mountains that you are looking at, the Mount Everest, the Kilimanjaro. I was in Kilimanjaro, I was in Tanzania. They showed me a mountain, the Kilimanjaro, on my African tour. These are tall mountains. Mount Everest, these are tall mountains. Allah Ta'ala said these mountains will be moving about like the wool. The wool that you see floating about with the wind. That's how these mountains will be reduced to. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ وَإِذَا الْعِشَارُ أُطِّلَتْ. And when the pregnant she camel shall be neglected. So the Arabs, they look after their camels when they are pregnant, because at that moment they are vulnerable and tender. Yet they will abandon their camels who are heavily pregnant. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. And the wild beasts shall be herded together. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ. All these oceans you see, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, Allah said they shall be blazing with fire. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ. Verse 6. Ibn Abbas, when he was asked, why will the oceans be blazing with fire on Judgment Day? Ibn Abbas said, Allah will throw the stars into the oceans, and when the stars fall from the sky and they are thrown into the oceans, all the oceans shall be blazing with fire. The Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, all these oceans shall be blazing with fire when Allah throw the stars down into the oceans, and the seas will all dry up. This will take place on the day of judgment, and when the earth quakes, when the terrible earthquake happens, the women will deliver their babies and then they will abandon their babies. And on that day, all the children will become white in their hair. Allah told you in Surah Muzammil, verse 17, all the children will become white in their hair. Women will abandon their babies, they will deliver their babies and abandon their babies. They don't want to know. Everybody will say, Nafsi, Nafsi, myself, me, myself, and I. You'll run away from your brother, your mother, your father, all your children, and you'll run away from your wife. So the people who were closest to you in the dunya, you will dump them on Judgment Day, and you don't care about them. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. All you care about is myself, me, myself, and I. So Allah said, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day, all you'll care about is yourself, and you'll run away from all your family members. Allah said in Surah Qiyamah, Surah 75, verse 1 to 5, فَإِذَا بَرَكَ الْبَصَرُ وَخَسَفَ. Verse 12, sorry, Surah 75, verse 12. Surah 75, verse 12. That is Surah Qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala is describing for you what will take place on Judgment Day in Surah Qiyamah. فإذا برك البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر. 7 to 12, Surah 75, verse 7 to 12. فَإِذَا بَرِكَ الْبَصَرِ. Surah 75, verse 7 to 12. فَإِذَا بَرِكَ الْبَصَرِ. So when the sight shall be dazed, the sheer terror will cause your sight to daze. Surah 75, verse 7 to 12. فَإِذَا بَرِكَ الْبَصَرِ. وَخَسَفَ الْقَمَرِ. And the moon will be eclipsed. وَجُمِعَ الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرِ. The moon and the sun will join in together by going out one into the other, folded up, and the sun will lose its light. The sun and the moon will join together and become one single entity, and then the sun will lose its light. جُمِعَ الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرِ. Ayah 9 from this surah. يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر. Mankind, when the sun loses light and it eclipses with the moon, mankind will cry out, أين المفر, where is my escape? أين المفر, where is your escape? كلا لا وزر. Nay, there is no refuge for you today on Judgment Day. كلا لا وزر. إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر. To your Lord alone will be your place of return, your place of rest. إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر. Tariq ibn Ziyad, the 17-year-old who conquered Spain, this was the part of the Quran he quoted when he gave a speech to the Mujahideen. He burnt the ships. He stood on a mountain called Jabal al-Tariq, the mountain of Tariq. The Kuffar corrupted the word, they call it Gibraltar. He burnt the ships, and what did he say to them? Ayn al-Mafar, where is your escape? He quoted the same Quranic verse. Kalla la wazar, there is no escape for you because I burnt the ships. Kalla la wazar means there is no escape. There is absolutely no escape for you. Ila rabbika yawma idhil mustaqar. You have to return to your Lord. You have to go to the battlefield. You have to go to the battlefield because you need food to eat. You have no food to eat. You have to kill the kuffar. You have to conquer Spain and get the food. He gave a historic speech on the mountain, which is called Jabal al-Tariq, and he incited the believers for jihad, and he conquered Spain, and he was only 17 years old. And this mountain is called Jabal al-Tariq, the mountain of Tariq, where he stood to give the khutbah, a heart-wrenching khutbah to the Mujahideen after burning the ships. He said, Ayn al-Mafar, where is your escape? Kalla la wazar, there is no escape for you. I burnt the ships. So how can you escape the battlefield today? Ila rabbika yawma idhin al-mustaqar. All of you have to return to your Lord. You have to go to the battlefield. You have no food to eat. I burnt the ships, and there is no food. The only way for you to survive, you are going to starve to death, is for you to conquer Spain and get the food. And after giving the heart-wrenching khutbah, they marched forward and they conquered Spain, and the Muslims ruled Spain for 800 years. And Spain became the springboard that launched the European civilization because it was the seat of learning for mathematics and science. And mathematics is the mother of science. The next chapter, the false hope of the kuffar. The next chapter, the false hope of the kuffar. On Judgment Day, the kuffar will come expecting to find good deeds piled up. People like Mother Teresa. She fed millions of poor people in Calcutta, India. But there is no good deeds piled up for these people like Mother Teresa, because they died as kuffar. Allah spoke about their situation In Surah 39, sorry, Surah Nur, verse 39. Surah Nur is Surah 24. Allah spoke about their situation in Surah Nur, verse 39. So Allah Ta'ala said, الذين كفروا أعمالهم كالسراب بقيعة يحسبه الظمأ ماء حتى إذا جاءه لم يجده شيئا. Those who are kuffar, they'll come on Judgment Day expecting to find good deeds. But their good deeds is only like the man who is in the desert. The man is in the desert, he's about to die from thirst. When he looked in front of him, he could see water. This man will rush to quench his thirst. But when he got there, it wasn't really water, it was only a mirage. No water, a mirage. People like Mother Teresa will come on Judgment Day expecting to find good deeds piled up. But they will have no good deeds to get because they did shirk. And Allah said to the Prophet Muhammad in Surah Zumar, verse 65, وَلَقَدْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ وَإِلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ لَإِنْ أَشْرَكْتَ لَيَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلُكَ وَلَتَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Verily we have revealed unto you, O Muhammad. Surah Zumar, verse 65. Not 35, 65. I hope it's the right ayah. It's embarrassing for a sheikh to make mistakes in regards to Quran. Verily we have revealed unto you, O Muhammad, the same way we revealed to all the prophets and messengers before you, that if you should commit shirk, all your deeds are nullified. If he was Muhammad, yet he was warned by Allah. If you commit shirk, all your deeds are nullified. What makes you think Mother Teresa stand a chance? Impossible. She was a Catholic, a pagan. What is their Aqidah? Holy Mary, Mother of God. That God came from the belly of a woman. Holy Mary, Mother of God. God came from the belly of a woman. Impossible for her to go to paradise because Allah warned the Prophet and everybody, if you do shirk, all your deeds are nullified. So the kafir on Judgment Day will come with false hope, expecting to be rewarded for their good deeds. But Allah said, they are like the man in the desert, very thirsty. When he looks in front, he sees water. He will rush to quench his thirst. But when he got there, it's not really water, it was only a mirage. Not real water. So Mother Teresa will come expecting good deeds, but she will have no good deeds to get because she did shirk. And Allah said, if you do shirk, all your pious deeds are nullified. The next chapter, when is Judgment Day? Christian delusions about judgment. We left, Kafirs have no hope. Yes, I've already brought you the evidence that Kafirs have no hope on Judgment Day. Surah 24, verse 39. Surah Nur, verse 39. Where Allah said, their similitude is like the man in the desert. He's thirsty, he looks, he saw water. He will rush to quench his thirst, but when he got there, it's just a mirage. People like Mother Teresa, that will be their plight, their predicament on the Day of Judgment. Allah warned Muhammad about shirk and said, if you, Muhammad, should do shirk, all your deeds are nullified. What makes you think Mother Teresa stand a chance? Christian delusions about Judgment Day. The Christians are hypocrites because Jesus said in the Bible, Matthew 24, 36. The Christians are hypocrites. Matthew 24, 36. Judgment Day, I don't know, not even the angels know, only God Himself knows. And please bring me the Bible verse. Yet you have many Christian preachers who say Judgment Day is that day and it's always the white infidels of America. So this, in 1970, Jim Jones he was in Guyana, South America, and he claimed that Judgment Day will take place in 1975. It didn't come, so he gave the people Kool-Aid to drink with poison and kill an entire group of Christians. It's called the Doomsday Cults. So Jim Jones, he pulled off a doomsday cult in Guyana, South America. Can somebody bring me the link for Jim Jones with his Kool-Aid? He gave them Kool-Aid to drink and killed them all and said Judgment Day did come because everybody in my cult, they died. So Judgment Day came. So he killed his people. These doomsday cult, they always kill their people and said, well, Judgment Day did come because look, we all died. And Jim Jones was the most famous who did this in Guyana with his Kool-Aid. And you have many, many more doomsday cults which I don't want to go into. Okay, shukran for bringing the link. That is it. The Jim Jones with his doomsday cult claiming, I know when is Judgment Day. The Christians are so stupid, they don't know that Jesus said nobody knows when is Judgment Day. Matthew 24, verse 36. Assalamu alaikum, can you hear me? I'm back with you. Okay, the Christians are known with their doomsday cult, even Waco, Texas. That's another doomsday cult, Waco, Texas. David Koresh with his doomsday cult. When everybody in his compound was killed, the media say this man is Majnoon, a madman. Had it been a Muslim who did that, they would say all the sheikhs are the same, they are all mad mullahs. They would generalize. When people hate you, they generalize. They can't be just. Because of their hatred, they generalize and they say all the sheikhs, they are mad mullahs who go around killing people. But when David Koresh did what he did, they only say that is his problem, it's not a Christian problem. But you have the Jim Jones in Guyana, and now you have David Koresh in Waco, Texas. So it is a Christian problem. And you have a doomsday cult in Uganda as well. Christians are famous for their doomsday cult, claiming we know when it's Judgment Day. And when Judgment Day doesn't come, they start to kill their followers and said Judgment Day did come because look, we all die. So the judgment did come. Then the Christians said that May 21st of this year is going to be Judgment Day. May 21st, 2011. A white kafir of America, that was his preaching. And the white kafirs, they are the ones who come up with the doomsday cult, claiming that we know when is Judgment Day. Okay, this is the Ugandan massacre. Another doomsday cult. Anytime the shaitan wants to tell a lie, he uses a white kafir to tell the lie. He always uses a white kafir to tell the lie. And they are known for telling lies. Look at their lie about walking on the moon. And you have donkeys with 2 feet who believe the kafir who said he walked on the moon. They went in the Nevada desert and recorded themselves in Las Vegas in the Nevada desert and said, look at us, we are on the moon. And people believe it. To be gay, it's in your genes. People believe that. AIDS came from Africa, from the green monkeys of Africa. They believe that. The world came about by a big bang. Nobody created the world. People believe that. Now, the white kafir, he bounced back. He said, May 21st, could you bring the link for this lie? That is Judgment Day. Please bring the link. May 21st. That is Judgment Day. He fixed a date for Judgment Day. My question to the Muslims who are living in America, when these kuffar claim that Judgment Day is May 21st, why didn't you go to them and say, give me your BMW car, give me your Mercedes Benz, give me your Ferrari car, give me your Lamborghini? Why didn't you do that? And then you have a car mart with 20, 30 luxury cars. Why didn't you approach the kuffar and say, give me your car? Judgment Day is coming. Don't you believe you're a Christian preacher? He said it's coming, 21st of May, 2011. So give me your Mercedes Benz, give me your BMW, give me your Jaguar, give me your Range Rover, give me your Ferrari car. And then you create a huge car mart from these Christians who are fools. Yes, that is the day they fix, May 21st. The end of the world, they claim. Why didn't the American Muslims approach the Christians and say, give me your car and then you'll have a huge car mart? You earn from their stupidity. Maybe the Muslims were too shy to do it. So these are the delusions, Christian delusions about Judgment Day. And Christians are delusional because Allah said, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Who are the أنعمت عليهم? Those who are blessed. The followers of Muhammad. The followers of Muhammad, they are أنعمت عليهم. Now who are the maghdub alayhim? Those who are cursed, the Jews. And who are the Daleen? The Christians. And because they are the Daleen, they are astray, you can expect them to come up with doomsday cults telling you when is Judgment Day. They want to tell you when is Judgment Day. I put it to you, the Christians, you are evil and you are hypocrites, because Jesus said in Matthew 24 verse 36, I don't know when is Judgment Day. Not even the angels in heaven know when is Judgment Day. Only God Himself knows when is Judgment Day. I put it to you, the Christians, the Bible say one thing and you say the opposite because you are evil and you are hypocrites. That's why you have your doomsday cults all over the world. And they always use white kuffar to tell these lies because people suffer from inferiority complex. So when the white shaitan speaks, everybody believes. When the white shaitan said Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, Bush and Blair, everybody believes. The shaitan always used the white kuffar to tell his lies because he knows people have inferiority complex. So when the white shaitan speaks, everybody believes. I don't know why the American Muslims didn't approach the Christians and said, give me your Mercedes-Benz car and collect hundreds of cars. Why didn't you cash in on their stupidity? You should have cashed in on it. People are fools, you cash in on them. Maybe the Muslims were too shy to approach the kuffar and say, give me your Mercedes-Benz car, and then you create a car mart. You should cash in on the stupidity of the Christians. On Judgment Day, Allah will say to Jesus, أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّي إِلَهِينَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Allah will say to Jesus on Judgment Day, did you tell the people to worship you and your mother as two gods beside me? Allah, Ma'idah 116. Jesus will say, Subhanaka ma yakun li an aqul ma laysa li bihaq. How can I say the things I do not have the right to say? You know what's in my heart. I don't know what is in yours. Now, Allah doesn't have a heart that pumps blood. What Jesus meant is, I don't know the inner self of Allah, what Allah has on His mind. Allah doesn't have a heart that pumps blood. You are not allowed to believe that. Ma qultu lahum illa ma amartani bi. I did not tell the people to do anything except what you, Allah, what you have commanded me. And i'budu Allah, to worship you, Allah. Rabbi wa Rabbukum, my Lord and your Lord. Surah 5, 116 to 117. So Jesus will renounce the Christians who worship Him on Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, the shaitan will make bara from those who worship him, the shaitan. Surah 14, verse 22. On Judgment Day, the shaitan will renounce those who worship him. He will say to them, I only tempted you and you accepted my temptation. Don't blame me, blame yourselves. Then the shaitan will say to them, by the way, when you used to worship me, Iblis, instead of Allah, I rejected faith in the kufr you were practicing. So the shaitan will wash his hands of those who worship him on Judgment Day, and he'll take the mickey on them, he'll ridicule them. He will ridicule those who worship him. Surah 14, verse 22. The shaitan will wash his hands of those who worship him. He said, I only tempted you. I have no authority, no sultan over you. I tempted you and you responded. So don't blame me, blame yourselves. And then he will say, when you used to worship me, Iblis, bring me the ayah in full. I rejected faith in the kufr that you were practicing. So the shaitan will wash his hands of those who follow him on the day of judgment. The Prophet Muhammad said, the worst man on judgment day is a man who killed a prophet. Okay, and the shaitan will say, when the matter has been decided, verily Allah promised you a promise of truth, and I too promise you, but I betrayed you. My promise was fake. I had no authority over you except that I called you and you responded to me. So blame me not, but blame yourselves. I cannot help you, nor can you help me today on judgment day. I deny your former act in associating me, the shaitan, as a partner with Allah. I rejected faith in the kufr that you were practicing. The worst man on judgment day, the Prophet said, is a man who killed a prophet or he was killed by a prophet. This hadith was collected by Bayhaqi. This will be the worst man on judgment day. A man who killed a prophet and he himself got killed by a prophet. The wicked scholars on judgment day will renounce their followers. Baqarah 166 to 167. Allah said what? The wicked scholars who used to pass false fatwas, wrong fatwas. On judgment day, they will wash their hands of their followers. They will renounce their followers. They say, I don't know you. These followers will say, if only we are given one chance to return to the dunya. To do what? To renounce our scholars the way they are renouncing us on judgment day. So on judgment day, the wicked scholars will renounce all of their followers. Those who don't pay the zakat, they are well to become snakes entangled around their necks. But this will take place in the grave. The proud man will have the status of an ant on judgment day. Please bring me this hadith. The man who was mutakabbir, proud in the dunya, his status will be like that of the ants on judgment day. Please bring me this hadith. That the proud man, when he is resurrected on judgment day, his status will be the same like that of the ants. Bring me the hadith. I hope you are not tired and exhausted. I do not want to split the dars up. I want to finish it. Those who are tired can leave. You are not obliged to stay. Oh, where is the hadith? The proud man will be on the status as the ant. You're taking too long to bring the hadith. Okay, I'll continue the dars. I'm surprised. It was narrated from Amr ibn Shu'aib by his father and grandfather that the Prophet ﷺ said, on the day of resurrection, the arrogant will be gathered like ants in the form of men. Yes, classified Hassan, collected by At-Tirmidhi. One person take the notes and the other bring the hadith. You are taking too long to bring the hadith. You are upsetting me today. I don't know why you're taking so long. When I quote the hadith, you should take 5 seconds to find the hadith. One person concentrate on the hadith and the other person concentrate on the notes. Okay, shukran. I continue with the dars. The Prophet said the worst names is when a person say, I am King of Kings. Allah hates when you call yourself King of Kings. And whenever you call yourself the King of Kings, Allah Ta'ala always disgrace you. Look at the Shah of Iran who called himself Shah and Shah, the King of Kings. Allah Ta'ala disgraced the Shah of Iran because the Prophet said that's the name Allah hates the most. The Messenger of Allah said the most hated and despised man before Allah on the day of resurrection will be the man who called himself Malikul Amlak, the King of Kings. Malikul Amlak, the King of Kings. There is no king except Allah. Sahih Muslim. Okay, shukran for this hadith. You were not slow in bringing this one. And we all know that kingship is not allowed in Islam. The Rasul said, Allah said in a Hadith Qudsi, Al-Kibriya Ridai wal-Azama Izari. Pride is my cloak and greatness is my robe. Anyone who competes with me in wearing my cloak and my robe, I shall dump him in the hellfire. Please bring me this hadith. Al-Kibriya Ridai, pride is my cloak, and Al-Azama, greatness is my robe. And anyone who competes with me in wearing my cloak and my robe, I shall dump him in the hellfire. Whenever you see the kuffar being transported to the graveyard, the sunnah is to say, Jahannam, Jahannam. Anytime you see their coffin being transported to the graveyard, the Prophet said the sunnah is to say, Jahannam, Jahannam. Hellfire, hellfire. You should give them the glad tidings of the hellfire. Can you find that hadith for me? You do not have that hadith? Okay, shukran. Never mind. So you should say Jahannam, Jahannam when you see the kuffar being transported in their cars, going to the graveyard to be buried. The sunnah of the Prophet is to say Jahannam, Jahannam. You should give them the tidings of Jahannam. Did you find the hadith where the Prophet said you should say Jahannam, Jahannam? The Prophet ﷺ said, the man who hides from the ruler, who hides from his people, I'm sorry, the hadith says, the man who hides knowledge, Allah will put a bridle for him to wear on the day of judgment. Please bring me that hadith. Whoever hides knowledge will be made to wear a bridle on judgment day, collected by Abu Dawud. This is the punishment for the people who hide knowledge. And the knowledge is the crucial knowledge that the people need. Some scholars don't speak about Tawhid Hakimiyya. Some scholars don't speak about Al-Wala wal-Bara. Some scholars don't speak about Kufr bit-Taghut. Some scholars don't speak about democracy, the greatest shirk. They hide knowledge. They hide knowledge from the Ummah. What is their punishment? The Prophet said they will be given a bridle made from fire to wear. The bridle is the iron the horses wear in their mouth to keep them under control. That will be the punishment of the scholar who has knowledge. The Rasul said 3 people, Allah won't look at them, much less to speak to them, much less to observe them on the day of judgment. 3 people on judgment day, Allah won't look at them, much less to speak to them, much less to observe them. Please bring me the hadith. Observe means to forgive them for their sins. So 3 people. Abu Hurairah said, the Messenger of Allah said 3 people, types of people. Allah will neither speak to them on judgment day, nor will He purify them from their sins, nor will He even look at them. And they will have a painful chastisement. These are an old man who commits zina, fornication, a king who was a great liar, the third, a poor man who was proud, related by a Muslim. If you are a prince and you are proud, it's understandable. If you are a pauper, yet you are proud, why are you proud? So this person, Allah won't look at him, much less to speak to him, much less to absolve him on the day of judgment. In another hadith, a man who says Wallahi and tells lies. 8 people, Allah won't look at them much less to speak to them, much less to observe them. 8 people. The old man who commits zina, this is another hadith. You don't have to find this hadith. The 8 people, Allah won't look at them, much less to speak to them. The old man who commits zina, the leader who was treacherous. Please list the 8 people. The old man who commits zina, the leader who was treacherous, the old man who commits zina, the leader who was treacherous, the pauper who was proud, the leader who was treacherous, the pauper who was proud, number 4, the man who was rude to his parents, the pauper, okay, the pauper, P-A-U-P-E-R. Please spell the word pauper the way I spell it. The pauper means a poor man. The pauper who was proud. Number 4, the person who was rude to his or her parents. Number 5, a man who was not jealous over his wife. Number 5, the man who wasn't jealous over his wife. He doesn't care if she's having an affair. This person is called Dayuth. Put in brackets Dayuth or Bighayrat. Dayuth. He is not jealous. He will never go to paradise, this person. Did you bring the hadith about bridle made of fire? Because somebody found the hadith. Okay, you can undot Malik Muthanna to bring you a hadith. Did you bring the hadith about the bridle made of fire? I can't remember. The hadith I quoted. Okay, number 6. A woman who behaves like a man or a man who behaves like a woman. Number 6, a man who behaves like a woman or a woman who behaves like a man. Number 7, a man who practices anal sex with his wife. Okay, Shukran, we don't need the hadith. Malik Muthanna, the admins found the hadith before. I'm going so fast, I forgot which hadith they found. Number 7, a man who indulges in anal sex. Number 8, a man who drags his thobe for pride. He drags his thobe for pride on the ground. Number 9, a person who sells weapons when the war is unholy. Number 9, a man who sells weapons when the war is unholy. These people on Judgment Day, Allah won't look at them. Try and see if you can find this hadith I've just quoted unto you. Another hadith, anybody who tells a lie, claiming, I saw this in a dream, I saw this dream, I saw that dream, and he was lying, Allah will give him 2 knots to make, and he won't be able to make the knot, and this person will be in the hellfire. Or please bring me the hadith about those who lie about their dreams. You are not allowed to lie about your dreams. The goofy Sufis, they lie a lot. I saw the Prophet in a dream. I was with the Prophet, and the Prophet came to me. I saw him in a dream. Ibn Abbas reported that the Messenger of Allah, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, said, anyone who relates a dream which he has not really had will have to tie a knot between 2 grains of barley and will not be able to do so. Anyone who listens to people talking when they do not want him. Oh, that's another hadith. I didn't ask for that hadith. Okay, yes, so you're not allowed to lie about your dream because you'll be punished on Judgment Day. Another hadith about Judgment Day. Any man who had 2 wives and he did not treat them equitably, half of his body will be paralyzed on Judgment Day. Please bring me that hadith. So, any man who practices polygamy, he had 2 wives, he did not treat them equitably. He treated one wife better than the other, half of his body will be paralyzed on the Day of Judgment. Please bring me that hadith. Next hadith. Where is the hadith about polygamy? If a man has 2 wives but does not act fairly by them, he comes to the Day of Judgment as having paralyzed on one side. Okay, shukran. The ruler who hides from his subject, Allah shall hide from him on the Day of Judgment. Is that hadith available? The ruler who hides from his subjects. When he was in the dunya, he hides from his subject. This is what the senators do. The MPs, the senators. During the election campaign, they promise you milk and honey. When they win the seat, the election, they disappear. That's why I hate politicians. They are liars. The ruler who hides from his subject, Allah will hide from him on the Day of Judgment. The reason why the notes are so long is because I am translating an entire book, brothers and sisters. I am translating an entire Arabic book, and I will tell you which scholar I relied upon for my notes. Sulaiman al-Ashqar. Maybe you can find the book in English. Where is the hadith? The ruler who hides from his subjects, Allah will hide from him on the Day of Judgment. Also, another hadith which I would like you to bring forward. Anyone who frightens a believer, Allah Ta'ala will frighten him on the Day of Judgment. If you scare a believer, Allah will scare you on the Day of Judgment. Is the hadith available? Those who hide from the ruler who hides from his subject, Allah Ta'ala will hide from him on the Day of Judgment. Okay, bring me the hadith. You are taking too long to bring the hadith. Any ruler who hides from his subject, Allah Ta'ala will hide from him on the Day of Judgment. Okay, no Muslim is allowed to scare another Muslim. Abu Dawud. He also said nobody should scare belongings of another Muslim. Okay, shukran. If that's what is available, I'll accept that hadith. The next hadith, anyone who earns his living by begging, on Judgment Day, he will have no flesh on his face. Now, sometimes you hide behind the door in the room and you scare the Muslim. You scream out in the dark to scare the Muslim. That behavior is haram, to frighten a Muslim. What if he should have a heart attack? This is a childish behavior to scare a Muslim. You hide in the dark, and when he comes in the room, you scream out. Those who beg in the dunya, they earn their living by begging, they refuse to go and work. On Judgment Day, they will be resurrected with no flesh on their face. When a man is always begging from people, he would meet Allah in a state that there would be no flesh on his face. Okay, shukran. Sahih Muslim, Book 5, page 2263. And this is another hadith in regards to Judgment Day. Allah Ta'ala will question the next chapter, the questioning of the kuffar on Judgment Day. The questioning of the kuffar, the questioning of the wayward. The questioning of the wayward on Judgment Day. The questioning of the wayward on Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, it will be said to the wayward, Ma salakakum fi saqar. What caused you to end up in Saqar? Surah 74, 42 to 48. Surah 74, verses 42 to 48. What caused you to be in Saqar? Saqar is a place in hell. Once you enter, you cannot get out. It's impossible to get out. They will say, Lam naku min al musallin. We never established the salah. Walam naku nut'im al miskin. We never fed the miskin, the poor people. We didn't pay the zakah. Wa kunna nakhudu ma al kha'idin. And we used to talk with those who talk vain talk. Now we fed the miskin, and we used to talk falsehood with those who talk the vain talkers. وَكُنَّا نُكَذِّبُ بِيَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And we used to reject faith in the day of recompense. Yawm al-Din, the day of recompense, because you will be recompensed according to the deen you followed. Until Yaqeen came and caught us. What is Yaqeen? Yaqeen means death. Yaqeen means death. So Allah Ta'ala said, فَمَا تَنْفَعُهُمْ شَفَاءَةُ الشَّافِعِينَ. On Judgment Day, no shafa'ah can save them because they never established their salah. And Allah began with the most important act, which is salah. So Allah will question the wayward on Judgment Day. The next chapter, the stages of Judgment Day. The stages of Judgment Day. Judgment Day has five stages. There are 5 stages on Judgment Day. The first stage we'll go through now. The first stage is called Al-Ba'ath, the resurrection. That's the first stage we will go through. The resurrection, we will be resurrected barefooted, naked, uncircumcised, unconscious, and thirsty. People will rush to drink from the Hawd, the fountain of the Prophet, the lake fount. We will be resurrected naked and thirsty, and people will rush to drink from the lake fount. The Prophet will look in their faces and he will recognize them because they used to be his Sahabas. But 2 angels will stop them from drinking. He will cry out, "They are my Sahabas, my companions." The 2 angels will say, "You don't know what they did after you left. They turned back on their heels as apostates from Islam. Please bring me this hadith." We use this hadith to checkmate the goofy Sufi who said the Prophet knows what is happening from the grave. So some people will come at the Hawd, that is when the bath takes place. I will look in their faces and I will recognize them. They will be driven away. 2 angels will stop them from drinking. I will say, "They are my people." The angel will say, "You have no knowledge." Listen to the hadith. "You have no knowledge of what they innovated after you left. They turned apostate as renegades." So the Prophet is not aware of what is taking place from his grave. even though the Sufis and the Shiites believe this, as well as the Barelwis. We use this hadith to checkmate those who say the Prophet is Hazir Nazir, he's everywhere, and he knows what is happening from his grave. And this hadith is in Bukhari. We use it to checkmate the deviants who claim the Prophet is aware of what is taking place from beyond the grave. Who are they? The Barelwis, the Goofy Sufis, and the Shiites. Because they are the grave worshippers of the Ummah. The second stage is called Al-Hawd. The first stage is the bath, the second stage is called Al-Hawd, the lake fount. The third stage, I'll bring you a hadith about the lake fount. The second stage is called Al-Hawd. And the Prophet said, my Hawd, the lake fount, is colder than ice, whiter than snow. Its drinking cups are more numerous than the stars in the sky. Anyone who drinks once will never get thirsty again and again. The second stage is Al-Hawd, the lake fount. The Prophet said, if you drink once from my Hawd, its drinking cups are more numerous than the stars in the sky. Anyone who drinks once will never get thirsty again and again. Okay, shukran for the hadith. The third stage is called Al-Hisab. At the Hisab, you will stand in front of Allah, and Allah will ask you about 4 things. The second stage is Al-Hawd, and we have the hadith of Al-Hawd. Its drinking cups are more numerous than the stars in the sky. Anyone who drinks once from my Hawd, my lake fount, will never get thirsty again. The third stage is called Al-Hisab. You'll be asked 4 things. The second stage is Al-Hawd. We have already been through that. We are on the third stage, which is called Al-Hisab, the reckoning. Al-Hisab is the reckoning. So please bring me the hadith again after the reckoning, Al-Hisab. You'll be asked 4 things. The 2 feet of the servant will not cease. The 2 feet of the servant will not cease from standing before Allah on the day of judgment until he is asked about 4 things. On his life and how he spent it. How did you spend your life? On his knowledge and what did he use it for? Some people use their knowledge to cement the thrones of the apostate regimes. What did he use your knowledge for? On his wealth, where he earned it and how he spent it. How did you earn your money? Some people earn their money from brothels or crack cocaine. How did you spend the money? Some people spend their money in casinos, gambling away, instead of giving it to poor people. And on his body, how did he exhaust his body? This hadith collected by At-Tirmidhi. So you'll be asked these 4 questions at the Hisab. At the Hisab, some people will be given their books in their right hands, and some people will be given their books in their left hand. At the Hisab, no soul will be made to bear the burden of another. Allah said, Surah 6, 164, no soul will be made to bear the burden of another at the Hisab. Surah 6, 164. At the Hisab, Allah will show the Muslim his sins, and the Muslim will admit to his sins. So Allah will forgive the Muslim. But at the Hisab, Allah will show the sins of the kuffar to the kuffar, and the kuffar will deny. He will say, I did not sleep with my neighbor's wife, I did not drink alcohol, I did not murder. The kafir will deny all his sins. So Allah will seal his lips, and Allah will make his hands and feet testify against him in regards to the haram things he used to do. Surah Yasin, verse 65. Al-yawma nakhtimu ala afwahim wa tukallimuna aydihim wa tashhad arjuluhum bima kanu yaksibun. Surah Yasin, verse 65. At the Hisab, the sins of the Muslims will be taken away from them and put on the scales of the Jews and the Christians. At Hisab, Allah will take away the sins of the Muslims and put them on the backs of the Jews and the Christians and dump them in the hellfire. Yes, Yasin 65, Allah said, I will seal the lips of the kuffar and make their hands and feet testify against them in regards to the haram things they used to do. Because when they stand at Hisab, they will deny that they did these haram things. At Hisab, Allah will take away from the Muslims their haram, their zina and their khamr, put it on the scales of the Christians and the Jews and dump them into the hellfire and then put the Muslim in paradise. Please bring me that hadith. Please bring me that hadith where Allah Ta'ala will take away the sins of the Muslims and put it on the scales of the Jews and the Christians and then dump them into the hellfire. At the Hisab, one bad deed will be recorded as one bad deed, but one good deed will be 10 good deeds or 700 good deeds. Because Allah said, my mercy prevails over my wrath. I repeat, at the Hisab, one bad deed will be written as one bad deed, but one good deed will be written down as 10 good deeds. Because Allah said, my mercy supersedes my wrath. Please bring me that hadith where Allah said, my mercy prevails over my wrath. My mercy is more than my wrath. At the Hisab, some of us will receive our book in the right hand. Some of us will receive our book in the left hand. Those who receive the book in the right hand will go to paradise, and those who receive their books in the left hand will go to the hellfire. At the Hisab, some people will be an arm's length from paradise, yet they will end up in the hellfire. Why? Because in the dunya, they used to cheat people, they used to backbite people, they slander people. So, the people they backbitten and slandered and stole their money. Some of you, you like to steal money. You borrow money and don't pay it back. The people will demand their rights. So, Allah will take away from you your salah, your zakah, your som, your hajj, your ribat, your sadaqah, your jihad, your umrah, and give it away to the people. So, even though you were an arm's length from the paradise, you end up in the hellfire. This will take place at Hisab. And the only currency Allah will accept on Judgment Day is your good deeds. So you will have to give away your good deeds to the people you wronged in the dunya. And please bear with me, we only have 5 minutes left. The fourth stage is called Al-Mizan, in which your good deeds will be weighed. Your good deeds will be weighed at Al-Mizan. Those whose good deeds are more will go to paradise, and those whose evil deeds are more will go to the hellfire. Surah 101, verse 6. Verse 6 to 11. Surah 101, verse 6 to 11. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقْلَتْ مَوَازِينُ فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا هِيَ نَارٌ حَامِيَةٌ. Then, as for those whose balance of good deeds will be heavy, he will live a pleasant life in paradise. Allah is talking about Al-Mizan in this surah. But as for him whose balance of good deeds will be light, he will have the home of Hawiyah. A pit in the hellfire will be his place, his abode. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا هِيَ, and what will make you know what it is? نَارٌ حَامِيَةٌ, a fiercely blazing fire. Allah is talking about Al-Mizan in this surah. Some scholars say that your book of good deeds will be weighed. Some scholars say that your body will be weighed. Allah will put you on the scale. If you are heavyweight, you go to paradise. And if you are lightweight, you go to the hellfire. You know you have heavyweight boxers and lightweight boxers, featherweight boxers. On Judgment Day, if you are heavyweight, you go to paradise. And if you are lightweight, featherweight, you go to the hellfire. This is the fatwa of some scholars. Why they pass the fatwa? Because Ibn Mas'ud went on the tree to pick the fig for the Prophet to brush his teeth. His leg was exposed and they were laughing at his leg. The Prophet said, "Why are you laughing?" They said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, look at his leg, it's so skinny." The Prophet said, "Wallahi, those legs are heavier on the scales, the Mizan, than Mount Uhud on Judgment Day." Please bring me this hadith. You have 5 seconds to find the hadith. The hadith of Ibn Mas'ud. When he jumped up to pick the fig for the Prophet to brush his teeth, the others were laughing. Look at his leg, it's so skinny. Because the Arabs, they don't like skinny legs. The Prophet said, "Wallahi, his legs are heavier on the scales than Mount Uhud." So, this is the hadith used by the scholars to say that you will be weighed on Judgment Day. If you are a heavyweight, if you are a heavyweight Muslim, you go to paradise. And if you are a featherweight Muslim, or a light Muslim, you go straight into the hellfire. How do you become a heavyweight Muslim? You are a heavyweight if you are a pious Muslim. Only the pious Muslim will be heavyweight, and those who are lightweight, they will go to the hellfire. So, this is the hujjah used by the scholars who say it's you, the Muslim, that will be weighed on the Mizan, on the scales on Judgment Day. The last stage on Judgment Day is called As-Sirat. What is As-Sirat? A bridge which is be placed over the hellfire. The Prophet says, "Some of you will cross the Sirat the speed of lightning." And please bring me the hadith about the Sirat. You have 5 seconds to find the hadith. Some of you will cross the Sirat like the horse galloping. Some of you will be running on your 2 feet. Some of you will be walking. Some of you will fall over into the hellfire. Sharper than a hair and thinner than a sword. Thinner than hair, sharper than a sword. Thinner than hair, sharper than a sword. This is a bridge over the hellfire. If a Muslim should fall over into the hellfire, he will come out of the hellfire with shafa'ah, the intercession of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But if a kafir should fall off the bridge and fall over into the hellfire, the kafir will abide in the hellfire forever, because there is no intercession for a kafir. I have already given you the evidence. No intercession for a kafir. Surah 74, verse 42 to 48. Those who were going backward and forward in Islam, in the dunya, today he's a Muslim, next week he's a kafir. Then he returns to Islam, then he leaves again. He used to go backward and forward. Allah will give you a light to cross the Sirat. Then Allah will take away from you your light. Then Allah will give you a light to cross the Sirat. Then Allah will snatch away your light. The way you treat Allah in the dunya, Allah will treat you the same way in the akhirah. And the Muslim who dies on the battlefield, he shall cross the bridge of Sirat with the speed of lightning. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this is our topic, Judgment Day. I've been speaking for 3 hours. 3.5 hours, nearly 4 hours. I'm only taking 5 questions because I've been speaking for nearly 4 hours. Only 4 questions. I'm sorry for the admins, I've exhausted you today. I think your fingers are aching. Normally I would break up Judgment Day in 2, but I did not want to break the topic. I'm taking 5 questions in regards to our topic, Judgment Day. This topic is so lengthy, I'll never repeat it. Maybe until after 6 months, I'll repeat this topic. It's so lengthy, I might repeat it after 6 months. Or maybe after 1 year, because we have more topics to cover. Please send your questions to the admins to post on the screen. The reason why the admins dot the screen, people come to the room to say things that are inappropriate. The admins dot the screen to save you from the evil of your own selves. People come to the room and they say things that are inappropriate, like they have never heard of Judgment Day. They don't believe in Judgment Day. So the admins dot the room to save you from the evil of your own selves. The screen is too tempting for people to post things on screen on main. Please be reminded the hadith says the Muslim is the one in which the other Muslims are safe from his hands and his tongue. Where is a hujjah that says that women will give birth in Jannah? The hujjah is that Allah said you'll have anything you want in Jannah. You'll have anything you want in Jannah. Now somebody once PM me to say, can I smoke ganja in Jannah? I don't have the hujjah for that. Ganja in Jannah? Smoking in Jannah? I have no hujjah to say smoking is in Jannah. I have hujjah to say there's wine in Jannah, but not ganja. Ganja means marijuana, cannabis. The wine in Jannah cannot make you drunk. The purpose of ganja is to befog the mind, to put you in a world of fantasy. Why people smoke ganja? Because they are depressed and they want to come out of a world of reality to a world of fantasy. People smoke ganja when they are depressed and they are trying to come away from a world of reality to a world of fantasy. When I was in prison in the UK, ganja was rife because people are depressed in prison and they want the ganja to take them away from reality to fantasy. I have no evidence to say that there is ganja in paradise. All I have evidence to say is that there is wine in paradise. Surah Muhammad, Surah 47, tells us that there is wine in paradise. But I have no evidence to say that there is ganja in paradise, even though people want ganja to be there. Surah Muhammad, verse 15. Surah Muhammad, verse 15 tells you there's wine in paradise. Many of you want ganja to be in paradise, but I cannot pass the fatwa. I have no evidence. You will have anything you want in paradise, even to give birth to a child, but there will be no bleeding after childbirth and there will be no pain. Because Allah said you'll have what you want inside of paradise, but I have something extra. What is extra? Allah said, I will give you what you want in paradise, and I have something extra. What is that extra? What is the mazid? Allah will show you His face when you go to paradise. That is what is extra. Allah will show you His face in paradise when you enter the paradise. That is what is extra. And Allah said, when you enter paradise, I will say to you, Assalamu alaikum. What will Allah say to you when you enter the paradise? Allah will say to you, Assalamu alaikum. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Surah Yasin, verse 58. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Surah Yasin 58. The scholars who say Arabic is the language of Jannah, this is their hujjah. Yasin 58, Allah will say to you, Assalamu alaikum, when you enter the paradise. Surah Yasin is Surah 36, verse 58. So those scholars who say Arabic is the language of Jannah, that is their hujjah, their evidence. Allah will say to you, Assalamu alaikum, when you enter His paradise. I'm taking 5 questions. Bring the other questions, please. The reason why I exhausted you for 3.5 hours, I translated an entire Arabic book from the great scholar Suleiman al-Ashqar. For those of you who want another hujjat that you will see Allah, Surah 75, verses 22 to 23. وَجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَادِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَادِرَةٌ. On that day, some faces shall be brilliant, looking at their Lord. Surah 75, verse 22 to 23. وَجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَادِرَةٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهَا نَادِرَةٌ. On that day, some faces shall be brilliant, looking at their Lord. The man who ordered his family to burn him to ashes out of fear of Allah, didn't he have the Aqidah incorrect about Allah bringing him back? As Imam Abu Hanifa says, Aqidah is the greatest fiqh. And what's the result of wrong Aqidah? The scholars of Islam, when they explained this hadith, they said the man did not memorize Allah's 99 names and attributes. So he did not know that Allah is Al-Qadir, the one who has power to do anything. Al-Qadir, the one who has power to do everything. So they say this is our evidence that if you do not memorize Allah's 99 names, you won't go to the hellfire for that. He was jahil about Allah's name, Al-Qadir. Please bring the other three, send the other three questions. Is there, that's not how there is spelled. I get upset when you spell it like that. Is there any hadith saying how long is between two blowing of the horn, death and resurrection? And I think there's a hadith that says there's 40 years between the two blowing. My recollection says I think there's a 40-year gap between the two blowing. Shukran. Your question needs research to ascertain the exact figure, either 40 years or 100 years between the two blowing. I'll take the other two questions quickly. Where's the other question? I'm taking two more questions. When we are called by our names, will we be called by our mother's names or father's names? And if we change our name after becoming Muslim, will we be called by our Muslim name or our birth name? If you change your name, you'll be called by your Muslim name. So if your name was Paul and then you change it to Abdurrahman or Abdullah, you'll be called by the Muslim name, because the Prophet said the names Allah loves best is Abdullah, Abdurrahman. Abdullah, Abdurrahman, Abdurrahim. These are the names that Allah loves the best. So you'll be called by your Muslim names. The hadith says you'll be called by your father's names. Some scholars, they don't want to accept the hadith when the Prophet said you'll be called by your father's names, because some women give the wrong child to the wrong father, because these women, they had a lover. So some scholars, they don't want to accept the hadith. They want to say the hadith is weak, it doesn't make sense. How can you be called by your father's name when some people were given the wrong father because their wives were having an affair? I have to accept the hadith at face value. I cannot use aql. The Mu'tazilites, that's how they argue. This is the Aqidah of the Mu'tazilites. They said it doesn't make sense. How can you be called by your father's name? Some people were given the wrong father because the woman was having an affair. This is what the Mu'tazilites write in their Aqidah books. They try to use their aql to argue with the hadith, to say the hadith is da'if. It doesn't make sense. Our aql doesn't accept it. We have to accept the hadith, and we cannot go along with the argument of the Mu'tazilites. One last question. There is a gap between the blowing of the first trumpet and the second trumpet. There is a huge gap. I think it's either 40 years or 100 years. I learned it from the lips of my sheikhs. I need to research to remember what figure the sheikh did give exactly. But the sheikhs did say there's a gap between the first blowing and the second blowing of the trumpet. Or the second and the last blowing. The second blowing is for you to die. Everybody will die. And the third and last blowing is for the resurrection to take place. The first blowing is to cause horror and terror. The second blowing is for you to die. And the third blowing is for you to be resurrected. The angel will blow into the trumpet 3 times. Those who say twice, it's the wrong aqidah. The correct aqidah is that of Ibn Taymiyyah. And what did he say? They shall blow, Israfil, shall blow into the trumpet 3 times. The last, are there concubines in Jannah? Yes, there are concubines in Jannah because Allah said you'll get anything you want in Jannah. There are concubines in Jannah because Allah said you'll get anything you want in Jannah. But you will get women in Jannah. These women, they are called Hurul Ain. And if you did not die on the battlefield, you'll get 2 wives. And if you died on the battlefield, you get 72 virgins, 72 wives. If you were not a shaheed, you get 2 wives. It is marginalized to 2 wives. But if you died on the battlefield, you'll get 72 virgins in paradise. This hadith is found in At-Tirmidhi about the 72 virgins. That was the last question. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. I think I have answered all the 5 questions. You'll get women to go to bed within Jannah. I don't know if you should use the word concubine to describe these women because the word is wives. Okay, this is the hadith of Tirmidhi, collected by At-Tirmidhi, that you'll get 72 virgins in paradise. And this hadith is classified Sahih by the scholars of hadith. I did not know it was found in Ibn Majah. I know it to be collected by At-Tirmidhi. I didn't realize Ibn Majah collected it as well. And this hadith was classified Sahih by all the scholars of hadith. That was the last question. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.